good afternoon. It's really nice today to have with us Luis Vegas. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Luis Vegas,
Yes.
who is the representative. Are you CEO?
I'm the general manager.
General manager of Proarándanos
Proarándanos. Perfect.
from Peru. It's such an honor to have you here with us, with the Lucentlands team, to chat to us about the incredible Peruvian blueberry industry, which has just taken off and is sparking and is actually putting the rest of the blueberry industry a little bit in the shadow. So, yes, please tell us about the Peruvian blueberry industry.
Tell us who you are and
Yes.
how you got there. Just give us a brief
A
history.
little bit about you first.
Yes. So, well, I'm Luis from Peru. I've been in this business for 6 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was not in the agricultural business.
Okay.
I worked in different sectors across my career. I studied in Lima, in Peru, engineering, and then I did a master's degree in Australia and in Chicago.
Wow, you got around.
Yes. And actually, I think that has really shaped me to who am I now. And, well, very excited to be here in South Africa for the IBO Summit and to learn, basically, where is the industry heading now. So, I think most of the people here just want to see that, right? What's the next step that the industry should take in order to make this business sustainable and profitable,
Have you been to South Africa before?
No, it's my first time.
Oh, well, welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
lovely city, Cape Town. I've been impressed how it's an incredible place. So I have to come back.
I was
whenever
going to say,
possible.
I think you'll be coming back. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes. So what was the spark that made the Peruvian blueberry industry take off like
Because
it
like they
has?
said, 12 years ago, Peru wasn't even mentioned in the stats yet.
Yes. So there are several factors.
Yes.
For sure. Maybe I'm gonna try to touch upon the main ones if my
Yes,
memory
just-
helps. But for instance, Peru has a very good climate, very good weather for blueberry production. So in Peru, we grow blueberries mostly along the coastline of Peru, which is basically a desert area with temperatures that don't oscillate too much. We have little rainfall, and that really provides a very nice weather for blueberries. So in Peru, and I think it's a competitive advantage of Peru, if you since the day you plant you plant blueberries, you start getting production in 6 months.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
that's incredibly fast compared to other locations in the world.
Wow.
Right. So that's we have been blessed with that weather in Peru, and the good thing is that the Peruvian industry has taken advantage of that.
Yes.
So that's a main factor. Other factor is that the Peruvian industry is new in blueberries, but it's not new in exporting other agricultural
Yes.
products. Right. So
We know
the companies
grapes
that
and many other fruits
so
from
Peru as well is also the main table grape exporter in the
Yes.
world. Having said that, I also represent the Table Grape Association from Peru.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And we are also a leading exporter of avocados,
Yes.
right? So what I'm trying to say is that many companies that started in blueberries were already doing other crops.
Okay.
So they just transitioned
Okay.
to blueberries, but they had all the knowledge, the prior knowledge. So we have the weather. We have, I would say, this high professionalism of the industry in Peru. I have to admit that. And also, what Peru has done really well over the past decades and more, it's different trade agreements with countries across the world.
Yes.
Right? So we have a free trade agreement now with the U.S. with the tariff, but the U.S. is our main market. We have a free trade agreement with China, and that really has boosted our exports to across the world, right? So there are other factors, but I would say those are some of the most important ones that have helped put Peru where it is right now.
So if you look at other countries, and getting to my question, it is difficult for other countries to open markets, and especially like in a country like South Africa, where our government is not really involved in agriculture. What made Peru become such a global player in all forms of agriculture, not just blueberry? There must be something that...
That's a very good question, because having the government support, it's critical.
Yes.
Yes.
If you want to really promote your industry, if you want to really grow your industry. So it's very important for the private sector to closely work and for the government to really support the sector if you want to grow the industry. That's a very important factor.
In terms of Peru's GDP, how big is agriculture of the GDP?
Yes, so agriculture is the second segment after the mining sector,
Okay.
in terms of GDP creation for Peru, right? However, agriculture is the main job creator in Peru. So it's the second GDP contributor, or I don't know the exact word, but it's the first sector in terms of creating employment. So actually, what the agriculture sector has done to Peru, it has reduced poverty, drastically. That's why it's very important for us to keep this business sustainable and profitable in order to keep reducing poverty in our country, right? Peru is a third world country. There's many things that need to be done, reduce poverty, one of them for sure. And the agriculture sector plays a key role. And in addition to that, it's very interesting how, first of all, with these agricultural blueberry fields and companies, these companies are investing in rural areas where before there were no other opportunities. So it's really the private sector, not the government, going into these rural areas, investing in the rural areas, creating job opportunities. And in the case of blueberries, most of those jobs are taken by women.
Oh, okay.
That's very
For the
interesting.
picking part.
For the picking part, yes.
It's very, very interesting, because a lot of what you're saying about the situation in the country is so similar to our country.
Yes.
Where there are there's incredible poverty, unemployment, and people living in rural areas. And what happens if there's nothing for them to do in the rural areas? They move to the cities where there's even less jobs and where things are tough and it's difficult. So when you develop in a rural area, and obviously your country's government has prioritized getting the agricultural sector going, obviously for the foreign income, but also for the job creation. And it's creating jobs in remote rural areas. That is incredible, and that they're focused on getting all the trade agreements in place, because I would imagine you're exporting most of your product. Most of the fruit that's grown, is the bulk of it is exported.
Yes.
So our government can take a lesson from the Peruvian government when it comes to making sure that we have access to different markets.
What was that always the case with Peru in terms of like with other commodities? The same?
No. So basically, at the beginning of the 90s, we had this switch in terms of laws promoting the agricultural sector, and that really created this opportunity to make Peru one of the leading exporters of fresh produce in the world.
Wow.
Right. Now, having said that, we still need to be super alert on how we keep this business going, how we keep this industry sustainable. And now that we're here in South Africa, we're not only thinking about your country, but as an industry as a whole.
Global industry.
Global industry.
Yes.
So there are many challenges ahead. In our case, Peru keeps growing in volume. What we need is for the markets to consume more blueberries.
Yes.
And grapes and aloes and all those things.
So there's a big opportunity. Also, pushing for less trade barriers across countries. That's
Yes.
very important in order to incentivize more trade. In our industry, because of the seasonality, when the markets in the northern hemisphere, for example, are not producing, they need during the winter time fruits from the southern hemisphere. That's why it's so important to have no trade barriers in order to increase consumption of, for example, blueberries, right? Because you need, if you want to eat blueberries anywhere you live all year round, you're going to have to ship them from somewhere else.
Yes, of course.
So with all these farms and listen, if I say South America is on my very high up on my bucket list to visit one day,
You should.
it's like right there. And of that, Peru is, because what that Peru has got is the diversity of, from the Amazon right to the desert to the agriculture. It's got everything. So I'll come one day. What did I want to ask now?
I don't know, but I'm sure it'll come back to you.
Yeah, it will come back to me. But it's Peru is a fascinating place to me. So I love what you guys are doing. Here it is. With all of this, I can imagine with you guys are being number one in the world with grapes and with berries. When you're number one, everybody's chasing you. So do you guys find it like that? That people are
I think that's good for all of us.
yeah.
I think the sense of like having competition makes us better. And that's not only, and that also happens between Peru, like in some weeks of the year, the major competition of Peru is Peru,
Okay.
right? So that really pushes the bar higher and higher. We have been growing rapidly. The industry as a whole keeps growing. We're now in a phase of, I'm not talking about not just Peru, but elsewhere. We are in a phase where many countries are changing old varieties for new varieties.
Yes.
So we are seeing this shift in terms of production. And I think what is important for the industry is to be aware of what we need to focus now, right? So I think the industry has got to a point where they have, where it has realized that we cannot keep the old varieties if we want to have a healthy future, right? So that's one aspect, but we need to be aware of what other aspects we should take into consideration, right? For example, labor is an issue that has come up, for instance, but what other issues we should consider is something that we as an industry need to really decide. From my perspective, we really need to increase investment in promoting consumption of blueberries.
Okay.
So blueberries are consumed far less than other fruits in the world. So if you compare, for example, in the US is the main consuming market in the world for blueberries. The consumption of blueberries is significantly lower than strawberries, for example.
Yes.
And other fruits. So there is a big opportunity in certain markets to increase consumption. And for that, you need a good product.
Yeah.
And that's where the varieties play a key role. But you also need to create more awareness about blueberries. And for that, you need to invest in doing promotions. And blueberries have, I would say, two very distinct and important attributes. One is that it's super healthy, so it's considered a super fruit. And the other one is that it's very easy to eat. It's convenient, so it's considered a snack.
Yes.
Right. So you don't need a knife to peel it.
No.
You don't
No.
get your hands messy. So wherever you are, you can you have your pack of blueberries. You can just eat the blueberries.
as
Replace
easy-
popcorn for blueberries.
It's as easy to eat as candy, but so
Yes.
much healthier.
Yeah.
I mean, you just pop
that's
it
a
in your
good way
mouth.
to. That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it.
To promote it.
To promote it.
It's okay, TM, trademark.
So yeah, I think blueberries have a prominent future, but having a I don't know if prominent is the correct word. Promising.
Promising, yes.
Having a promising future isn't guaranteed that we're gonna succeed, right? So I think we have identified what strength we have, what we need to improve as an industry as a whole, globally, and we have to work on that, right?
My previous question came back to me.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So with all these big blueberry farms that's in Peru, and we've seen those videos, and you see the berries go over the hills and far away, and it's incredible. I must see that one day. How much of that is traditionally Peruvian farmers that has pivoted into becoming big producers, and how much of it is investment that came from outside into the country?
I will say, I think it's a good mix. It's a good mix. There are some family farms that have gone bigger, and now they're like big companies, but they are family owned. Then you have companies that have owners from different parts of the world, right? Just to give you a sense, from all blueberry plantings in Peru, we estimate that 1/3 of those plantings is owned by U.S. investors.
Wow.
1/3.
1/3
Okay.
of yes.
Well, you know, foreign investment is fantastic for a country because it's money from somewhere else that comes and provides
And betters
jobs
your country.
and it betters your country.
Exactly.
And I was thinking earlier, we spoke about the jobs at the bottom of the pile, but I think it must be, this growth must be affecting everything, including the logistics, including all the suppliers to the industry, including the universities and the R&D that's happening, the export companies. There must be a huge flourishing of the whole agricultural supply chain in your country.
Yes, totally. So, talking about employment, for example, we estimate that every season in Peru, the blueberry industry creates around 150,000 direct jobs.
Wow.
And indirect jobs more than that, 2 or 3 indirect jobs for each direct job, more or less. So it
So
creates.
if you say a direct job, that's somebody that's employed by a company.
Yes,
gets a salary
they
every
are
month?
harvesting blueberries. Yeah, that's a direct job.
And an indirect is somebody that's indirectly involved with
Yes,
logistics.
for example.
Okay. Or
So
packaging.
so in our case, it's basically in terms of production, Peru keeps growing, at 20-25%. So, but then when you grow rapidly in one direction, it starts creating bottlenecks.
Yes, of course.
And one bottleneck, for example, is logistics. During certain weeks of the year,
Same as here.
the demand for containers really increases exponentially, and that creates bottlenecks. So that's some of the challenges that we face in Peru. It's we grow rapidly, so we need to be grow with the least pain, as you would say.
Yes.
All right.
And I would imagine then you are having massive cold storage facilities required and various other infrastructure that's required.
Yes.
And the ports, how are the ports doing with all of this? How are your ports able to
Cope.
to
that-
cope with the demand?
During certain weeks of the year, it's a challenge. What we are focusing on is in diversifying in different aspects. For example, talking about ports, diversifying the ports of where we ship our blueberries from. Also, diversifying the ports where we get in the different destinations.
Okay.
Because the concentration of volume during certain weeks of the year, it's a big challenge. So if all the industry ships on the same week through the same port to the same destination, you're going to saturate the logistics, you're going to saturate the market. So the strategy is to diversify, right?
Okay.
Also talking about our production window, Peru basically produces blueberries all year round. We have, thanks for the weather, still our production is concentrated during the third quarter of the year.
Like
Right.
now.
like now. So in Peru, from all the production between September and December, Peru ships 80% of all production.
Wow.
Okay.
In 4 months. So looking into the future, what we need to do is to spread out the volume more into more weeks, and spread the volume more into more destinations.
Okay.
You're touching on something which I wanted to ask you more specifically. Obviously, you're shipping. You are on the west coast of South America, so your product, your main market is the United States. So is the bulk of your stuff going up and going in through California, or is a lot of it going through the
Philadelphia.
through
Yeah.
through the
Through
canal?
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but yes, that's a good question. So
Goes through.
Panama.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Philadelphia is the main entry point into the US. Traditionally, Philadelphia has represented between 75% or 80% of all the Peruvian blueberries entered through Philadelphia
Okay. Wow.
and then distributed across America. That is changing. Philadelphia is still the main port, but the participation of Philadelphia now it's almost around 60%.
Okay.
And we see more shipments into other ports of entry. For example, Port Hueneme. Port Hueneme is a port that it's north of LA, Los Angeles.
Okay.
And it's a port that now represents around 20% of all our shipments.
Oh,
And
wow.
and it's very good to have a point of entry into the US on the West Coast.
Yes.
That's
To
what I
be
was
not
thinking.
so dependent on the East Coast.
So-
So that's evidence of how the industry is trying to diversify, to reduce the risk of just one port. We saw this last year. There was a port strike in Philadelphia, and that really had an impact during those weeks that we had this port shutdown.
It impacts everywhere. It impacted our country as well.
Yeah, well,
Because our most of our citrus, summer citrus goes in through Philadelphia.
yes.
So we know it's like, you know, the butterfly effect. The little thing happens on the one side of the world and it comes and it knocks on your door on the other side of the world. Yeah.
So if you say you guys are looking at diversifying your ports, or you are doing that, are you moving fruit through non-traditional shipping ports? I've got no idea what how the ports work in Peru, but in South Africa, for instance, we've got 3 major ports that handles container shipments, and the only reason why they are is because the other ones are not deep enough for the container ships to come in. So how does Peru handle that? If you say
So that's a good question. So traditionally, Peru has shipped from 2 ports in Peru mainly, that are Callao, that is next to Lima. That's the main port for Callao. It's near Lima, and also Paita, which is north of Peru near Ecuador.
Okay.
So those have been traditionally the main ports where blueberries and other crops have been shipped everywhere. But over the past years, I would mention, among other things, that port of Pisco, which is south of Lima, in Ica region, has started getting more representation, especially for shipments from the south of Lima. And since the beginning of this year, we have another big milestone for our country. It's the port of Paita. So north of Lima, the Chinese government invested in this very big project to have the biggest port in South America, in the Pacific side. And that's Port of Chancay. It's really impressive. I was there a couple of months ago. And that port opens new services and faster services into China and Asia.
Very exciting.
So
Part of the Chinese Road and Belt Initiative. They are doing that internationally.
Yes.
So it's good to hear that you are benefiting from that.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So just starting, but we are already seeing the results of that port. And luckily for the blueberry industry to have more options.
Yeah,
right.
We're curious because in South Africa, like we said, we've got 3 main ports and there's a couple of other smaller ones as well. But we are nowhere near the volumes you guys are doing, and we're getting bottlenecks. Look, it's also part of our fantastic government. Your government has climbed in and see the benefit of supporting these things.
Yeah,
But
it's we try to to
yes,
it's
mitigate.
not always easy with the government. But yeah, it's important. It's important
Yes.
for them to be aware of the good impact that
Exactly.
blueberries have for the country. It's really good for them to internalize that and say,
exactly.
we have a great opportunity for the people of the country
Yes.
to
Wow.
I should have asked this question earlier because we've kind of spoken around it, but I pointedly to ask the question. The grower association that you head up, what does it do on behalf of the growers? How many growers do you represent, and what is your main focus on behalf of the growers?
Okay, so Proarándanos is first of all, it's a voluntary association.
Okay.
It's voluntary. It's a private association.
Okay.
We have right now 34 companies that are members of Proarándanos, and these companies represent roughly 80% of all blueberry production and shipments from Peru. However, as Proarándanos, we basically work for the Peruvian industry as a whole.
Yes.
We are devoted to our members, but we really represent the Peruvian industry.
Yes.
So not just our members. So Proarándanos tries to be the Peruvian ambassador for blueberries, basically.
Well, you're doing a good job.
I was about to say that.
And among the different things that we do, there's a lot of around data analytics reporting. That's very valuable. For example, having the forecast for the season is very important.
Yes.
And updating that forecast on a frequent basis is very important to plan the best way possible. Talking about logistics, talking about commercially, where to ship your fruit, So ideally, the companies should have different options and be able to ship their fruit to the best place at the best time possible to really optimize that sale. So that's some of the things that we do.
On technical and those kind of assistance, you also do that?
Not much so far, as in other associations in Peru, So in the blueberry industry in Peru, it's mostly medium to large size companies, and we see more demand for technical aspects in associations that have small growers. Smaller growers, right? So we do some things regarding technical aspects, and I think in the future we're gonna do more of that. But so far we don't focus much on that aspect, because if each company works, on
It's
on
interesting,
their own.
that question, and we see in South Africa, the larger the growers, the more they normally have their own technical people, and kind of the less they need that kind of input, whereas the people that really need the technical input from the grower organizations are the smaller growers. So it's interesting that you mirror that.
But if you take, for instance, the citrus industry in South Africa, which is the second biggest in the world, they've got the whole research technical department that support the growers with whatever they need. They've got people helping with IPM and packhouses and the whole everything, and that's a statutory levy that all the citrus growers pay each year.
They are forced to pay it. It is
okay.
in order to export.
It's not voluntary.
Not voluntary.
It's statutory. So for every carton exported,
a certain percentage.
A certain percentage. And what was really interesting, I know I'm digressing, but you'll find this interesting. So their income is based on a certain amount per carton exported. And last year there was a massive spike in the price of orange juice, as opposed to exports. So suddenly people were sending their stuff to the juice factory, and the industries were not getting their export amount.
Okay.
It was a small dip. It wasn't massive, but suddenly it showed that actually it only comes from exports. So interesting how your financial structure can suddenly change when something happens you weren't expecting. So it's very interesting.
No, I was curious about it, because if Peru and all the agricultural things are so big and so renowned that I was just curious that if the industry bodies has got something like that to support the growers on the ground.
Yes.
Just because I'm curious.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old is your organization?
So Proarándanos was formed in 2014. So we are 11 years old.
Okay.
So actually we are the youngest of the associations in Peru. We also have a citrus association.
Yes.
And they are very heavy in the technical aspect.
Okay.
We have and the citrus association, I think it's 25 years old.
Okay.
So we're like the new kid in the block.
Okay.
That's fine. But you're making big waves.
You certainly have. It's like the joke about the rabbit and the hare. You know, the rabbit and the tortoise and the hare.
Yes.
Sorry, the tortoise and the hare. So, the tortoise wins. You guys have gone right past everybody while they were sleeping, and you've won the race. You are the biggest for now. As you say, you don't know what the future holds.
You don't know what the future holds, and also being the youngest, you learn from the oldest.
Yes.
Oldest, right? And that's going back to one of the first question is many companies in Peru before blueberries were into other crops.
Yes.
Right. So they bring that expertise into blueberries.
The institutional knowledge of production and exports and the knowledge of all of that. So now they apply that to a new crop.
Yes.
So it just makes the transition so much easier than starting from scratch with no knowledge.
Exactly.
So although you're the new kid on the block, you come with institutional knowledge from other things. Okay.
No, so,
very, very interesting.
like I've said, I'm going to go to Peru one day.
You should.
I just don't know when,
Yeah.
but I'm
We
going.
would like to have the IBO summit next in Peru.
Imagine. So it might sound like a stupid question, but when we see the landscape, it looks, it's desert. Where's the water coming from?
Yeah, so Peru is one of the countries with most water availability in the world, right?
Most water availability.
Yeah, but that water normally, I don't know if the exact word is drains, but goes into the Amazon basin.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, what Peru did many years ago, the government constructed in different areas this big irrigation infrastructure. Okay. So you capture a bit of that water and you send it to the other to the Pacific side. Basin. So you are using water that normally would end up at the sea. You're using it to create this fertile desert, right? Because it's basically a desert where there was nothing, and now you have blueberries among other crops. So in different areas of Peru, that's how we get the water.
Is this water with canals or pipelines?
Yes, canals.
Wow, that must be something to see.
Yes, that's very impressive.
Like you really want to go. You'll have to go sometime.
Tell the organizers that you want to go. You want the IBO to go to Peru.
Yeah.
So we all agree. Is there any particular message that you would like to leave for listeners in South Africa and global listeners about blueberries?
I would like to really thank you for the opportunity to tell our story from Peru. And for anyone in the world interested in blueberries, invited to come to Peru, see what we are doing down there. And very happy to be here with all these leaders from different countries. I think it's very valuable to get together and talk about these issues.
Absolutely. It is very valuable to chat to people because you get insights that you would never get unless you have it in person. So thank you so much for joining us. We have a closing tradition, which is quite fun, just at the end of our podcast. One of the previous guests, has left a question.
Okay.
It's just a random question.
We're going to get one from you also.
And we'll get one from you when we are done. So here we go.
Okay, I'll get to the actual question now, but I've got to, I just asked Court just before you, is that when did you arrive in South Africa?
Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon. And when are you leaving?
Monday midday.
So hopefully in between that time, you'll get to experience a South African bride.
Yes.
A barbecue.
Barbecue.
A South African
barbecue. I would like to really try to use my time as much possible here. So yesterday, I took the red bus.
Yes.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
It was like, I was impressed how beautiful Cape Town is. You know, like
Thank
I
you.
saw the pictures, but being here, it's like wow, impressive. And hopefully, I'll be back soon.
Yes,
And
we hope
maybe Sunday, I'm gonna be here do some tourism for sure to
Oh,
check it
wow.
out.
So what I always ask people is, if you get to meet random people that don't know you, you don't know them, and you're at an event in South Africa, it's a braai is a get together,
like a social event.
Yeah, and often you invite people that don't know each other. If somebody asks you, what is it that you do? What do you tell them? In short, for somebody that's got no idea.
I always I work in the blueberry business, blueberry industry. No,
And then what do they say? Oh,
yes, and they always ask, okay, but be more specific. That's a follow-up question always, right?
Yes.
No, basically, I represent the Peruvian blueberry, right?
And the people on the street in Peru, do they actually know how big the industry is?
More and more, yes, and that's good.
yes, it's
Because
excellent.
It's excellent.
If you walk out here and you stop the first person you see and you ask them, what do you know about South African fruit or South African table grapes or blueberries or citrus, they probably won't be able to answer you, unfortunately. Okay, so here's my question.
But that has changed in Peru. Like over
That's
the past
good.
years,
Okay.
now blueberries, I would say most people would recognize that Peru is a leading player in blueberries. But I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, not that much. So and I think it's good for the people in general
Fantastic.
to see how this industry is really helping make our country more prosperous,
Yes.
right? So yeah.
So here's my actual question.
Okay.
My random question. What is the biggest misconception of what you do, your work?
What's the biggest misconception?
Yes.
Wow, that's
It is a wild one. You really dug a big one out there.
I don't know what they might be thinking about. Like, I don't know exactly how to answer that question, but when I meet these different people of the industry,
Yeah.
like one time I was having dinner with someone, and I was explaining him with a lot of words what I did, and he was like, I think it was a very smart comment, and he told me, "No, Luis, it's easy. You're just the Peruvian blueberry ambassador. That's it." That's
Well,
that's what he told me, right? So
gets
I
rid
don't
of
know.
misconceptions.
It made me start thinking, and I think it's in line to basically what we do, that it's represent our industry,
Wow.
right? And that's what we do in different aspects. So yeah. So regarding to the misconception, I don't know how that's tied to
You don't get growers that phone you on a Friday afternoon and say, Louise, I need to get my fruit into Chile. Can you help me? Or into Vietnam or wherever. Can you help me?
Yes, you always receive those calls. You know? But yeah, just on a personal note, I feel very grateful to represent my industry. For me, it was a huge opportunity now to be in this position. Now, looking back, it's been 6 years, but the amount of people I've met on the way, the different places I have visited, I feel really, really lucky for that opportunity. You know? I believe when I grow older, I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, oh, man, so it was such an amazing ride. So
Yes.
really enjoying each day. And for me, it's very motivating to work for an industry that you are producing something that is super healthy for the world, right?
That's a good one.
And on the other hand, I'm working on the industry that it's really helping my Peru to become a more developed country, right? For me, those aspects is super motivating to keep working in this
I
industry.
can imagine.
Yeah, so
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was really interesting to hear about Peru and to hear about your incredible industry. And good luck going ahead with representing all the growers and with growing the industry, and I really hope it goes really well.
Yeah. And it continues to grow and be a success. Well done.
Thank you very much. Actually, it's been a pleasure to be part of
Okay.
of this interview. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Right.